Welcome to Tiny Travelers, brought to you by BabyQuip, the family travel podcast where we make traveling with little ones easier, smarter, and more fun. I'm Sarah, a travel-loving mom who knows the joys and chaos of exploring with little ones. Each week, we dive into parent-tested strategies, travel hacks, and honest advice on what really works with kids. So buckle up, grab your travel planner, and let's make your next family adventure unforgettable. Pack light, travel happy.
Welcome back to Tiny Travelers, brought to you by BabyQuip, the podcast where we talk about traveling with kids and traveling through life with kids. I'm Sarah Huff, gear expert at BabyQuip and host of Tiny Travelers. Around here, we talk about family travel, baby gear, and all the ways parenthood changes us, sometimes in ways we never expected. And today's guest is someone who spends a lot of time having honest conversations with moms about exactly that. Jessica Lamb is the founder and host of the Mama Making podcast, where she shares stories from women who are building businesses, leading communities, creating change, and raising families all at the same time. One thing I love about Jessica's message is that motherhood doesn't stop personal growth. It often reshapes it. Jessica, welcome to Tiny Travelers.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I love this kind of conversation and like your point of view, because motherhood doesn't stop personal growth and you have to continue to change as you kind of grow up yourself, grow up with kids, you know? So one thing I hear from moms all the time, and parents too, but moms specifically, is that they feel like they've lost a piece of themselves once they've become a parent. And why do so many moms feel like they have to put themselves on pause?
Oh, I think this is a huge conversation, but I think in a larger scope, I think our society and culture and the way life has moved for us here in the States specifically, it's kind of expected for moms to put themselves away. It's all focused on baby and kids and family, and work should come second because that's what it's always looked like. And I feel like we're a completely different generation of moms who are like, no, we can do both. It'll just look a little different. And so, yeah, what I love about podcasting is talking to many different moms who are starting to get back into the idea that we can be individual people while also being really great, loving, present moms and family members and friends, and that we can do it all. It just looks a little different. Great question. I have with motherhood, I think it's very similar to that first year of a baby's life, and that once you're okay, we've got the sleep schedule down, we got the eating schedule, we know what's happening. A week later, you hit that sleep regression and everything changes. And I feel like it's very similar with motherhood. As you go through the different stages of motherhood, I think you change and learn a lot more about yourself. For me, I really had to change what my idea of success was. Prior to podcasting and having my own business, I worked in nonprofit. And so I was a fundraiser, and almost all of our success was numbers. It was numbers fundraised or dollars brought in or people that attended our events. And so for me, it was very milestone focused. Whereas now becoming a mom, it was okay, is my nervous system in check? Do I feel like I'm evenly spread? I'm not spending too much time in one area. I'm doing my weekly therapy. I feel like things are good versus numbers on a paper. And that evolves too. So for me, as I've evolved and started a business and did the podcast and became a mom and all of this, these milestones, I've still had to go back to okay, what feels right? Do I feel comfortable? Do I feel too stretched, or am I burning out a little bit? So I think each season of motherhood has kind of taught me different lessons in what success looks like. Like, do I feel fulfilled by what I'm doing? Am I a little stressed? Maybe, but am I on a good path to feeling really filled in all of my areas? To me, right now, that is what success looks like.
Yeah. Okay. I love that because you're right. It doesn't always have to be like, did I achieve this? Did I do this? And I think as moms, sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be able to check off those boxes. Like, yes, I did that. Yes, I did that. But sometimes, just at the end of the day, like, do I feel content in the way that I managed my house or how I helped my kids regulate or how I helped myself regulate? So I think that's so lovely. What's one of the biggest things that you've learned from all of the moms that you've interviewed on your podcast?
Oh, that's such a great question. I'm really proud of the guest list that I have from the podcast. I feel like there are so many different women, so many different types of motherhood. Everyone is coming from such different areas of literally the world. And so for me, I think what I have learned the most is that everyone is doing it differently in a way that works for them. And what works for your best friend as a mom is not going to work what's best for you or your sister or whoever. Quite literally, everyone is doing motherhood in a way that works best for them. And it has taught me to have a lot less judgment of other people, for one, of like how they're choosing to do it. I really had to let that go in the beginning because it was informing how I thought that I was supposed to be mothering. I would look at other moms and maybe judgment isn't the correct word, but I would observe what their motherhood looked like and be like, well, I need to be doing it XYZ way. So I think for me, meeting different moms, seeing their different walks of life has truly shown me that like every path of motherhood, no two path looks the same. Everybody's doing it differently. And at the end of the day, we're like just trying to love our kids and do as much as we can for them while also like figuring out how to live our own life as well. And we're all just doing the best we can.
Yeah. What do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. So it's so easy to like see other moms doing whatever they're doing and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that, or my family doesn't do that. I must not be doing it right. But, somebody might be looking at you and saying like, oh, I'm not doing that. I must not be doing it right. So we all have to just give ourselves a little bit of leeway, I think.
Yes.
So a lot of parents lose themselves in those early years. I know I certainly did. I always say that it took me like, I don't know, 8 years to get myself back. And that's not even, baby days. That's like kid days. So why do you think that we lose ourselves in the early stages?
Yeah, I think for one, becoming a mom is like so all encompassing, and it starts like the second you get that positive test, whether it's like you've peed on the stick or you've gotten the results from your fertility clinic or you've decided to adopt and like got your approval. From the second you're like, oh, this is a new phase, it all kind of rushes over you and it's so all encompassing. And I think that it's evolutional to raise a small, tiny human and keep them alive. Like we have to kind of put ourselves to the side we're in survival mode, but I think we get so used to that and we get so used to prioritizing everyone else because of survival. I don't necessarily know how to get out of that. And another thing that I feel like we all kind of know that as we go into motherhood, like it's going to be survival. Like there's those first few weeks are brutal. But I think something that I didn't realize, I thought I was going to go into motherhood being the same person, just like having a little baby on my hip. And you don't realize how transformed you are going to be coming out of that, whether it's you've birthed your child, you're welcoming a child home. It's so transformative. And I think that takes so long for us to, one, realize that we're completely different. Two, we've lost many of our hobbies or things that brought us joy at one point. And trying to figure out, like, I know for me, I cared so much about what everyone thought. I cared so much about what I should be doing, where I should be doing it, all of that stuff. And when I became a mom, I just like didn't care about a lot of stuff anymore. So going from like being a really big people pleaser to being like, well, that doesn't really fit my schedule right now, or I don't really feel like doing that, was so jarring to me that I was like, wait a second, I'm totally new. I have to like rebirth myself as well. And I think that that is a very hard undertaking for us women as we're building families and a lot of times building businesses or working a 9-to-5 job that like brings us so much joy, but also is just another thing on our list. I think that unless we're carving out time to really focus on like getting back into ourselves, which frankly, I'm very guilty of not doing. Like you said, I'm in year 3 of being a mom. I have a 3-year-old turning 4. I feel like I'm just now in a place where I'm like, okay, maybe I can carve out some time. Like, what are my activities? What are my hobbies? What do I like to do? And I think we're so exhausted from being moms that we're like, ugh, the last thing I want to do is like figure out something I like to do or try something new. But I think I'm really a big advocate because I have to force myself to do it, to like get out of your box and try to do something new, no matter how tired you are or whatever barriers might be there for you. I think it's like getting back to ourselves and realizing we are a whole person outside of being a mom is, I think, imperative to start getting to know who you are.
Yeah. And it will make a difference once you start realizing that you are a whole person too, with or without your children. What do you think some signs are that a mom really needs to like reconnect with herself and get back to being a whole person?
That's a great question. I think for me specifically, I didn't enjoy ending my day with my family. It sounds so terrible, but like the mornings are crazy getting the baby ready to go. In the beginning for me, I was working from home and my son stayed at home, but with either my mom or my mother-in-law, whoever. And so I was with the baby in the morning. I was nursing the baby during the day. While I was working. And then in the afternoon, it was like just me and the baby, that my husband would come home. It was all of us. And by the end of that time, I was like, I want to be by myself. I want to be away from everybody. Like, you take the baby. I just need 10 minutes by myself in my room. And I think for me, that was the start of it, being like, okay, I need something else that is me focused because nothing else is. And so it started for me being like, I just need 10 minutes. And so that's kind of like a funny phrase that we say in our house. Like when we're tapped out, we're over everything. It's like, I just need 10 minutes. And that was the start for me to realize I needed to make a change, or else I was going to continue to go on this downslope where like I'm not enjoying it. And if it's not enjoyable, then what's the point? And all that to say, not every second of motherhood or parenthood or a marriage or a friendship is going to be like incredible all of the time. But for me, that was kind of the red flag to be like, okay, you got to do something else.
And what would you say to maybe a mom or a parent or caregiver that's feeling stuck and doesn't know how to kind of even understand what they need or start reconnecting with themselves?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. That's exactly the space that I was in. I mean, your brain is so busy and so full all the time. And like the last thing I wanted to do was like look up a class to take or like try to decide something I wanted to do. And frankly, I relied on my friends and family to do it for me. In hindsight, I'd probably do it for myself a little bit differently. But like my husband was like, I was at the time obsessed with this glass blowing competition show on Netflix. And my husband found a woman who did glass blowing classes in our area and signed me up for 6 weeks of a class. And I was so mad. I was like, I enjoyed watching it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to leave the classes at like 7:00 at night. I'm like, I'm tired. I don't want to do it. And taking that class, I was so bad at it. I loved doing it. And a lot of times it was just me and the instructor. And she had older kids. And so I asked her a lot of questions and she taught me a lot of things. And so besides the terrible glass blowing I did, I learned so much about like, okay, it's late at night. I'm really tired. having an hour and a half to just like sit and just have my nervous system calm down and talk to someone who's not an infant, and choose whether I wanted to talk about my baby or not, was so pivotal for me. And I know my friends would be like, hey, we haven't seen each other in a while. Let's get together. And I'm so filled by spending time with my friends. But at that point in time, I was like, oh, the last thing I want to do is like sit and talk about our families. And I just want to be with my friends and not have to make any decisions. And so they kind of did it for me. So I think having a really good support system to be like pulling you out of that space. And if you don't have that support system, I think starting by like, where can I carve out X amount of time during my day to just like sit and decompress or do like a 10-minute meditation. I think so much of it for me was learning like my body was constantly buzzing just from like constantly thinking, always having someone touching me, always having something to do, that having just that 10 minutes in my bedroom by myself or that hour and a half glass blowing class, my nervous system was so fried. And I think that that was like the point that helped me to be like, okay, it's not me, it's not my brain, it's just my body needs to calm down and kind of like refocus. So I would say if you have a support system, lean on them if you can. If you don't and you have to rely on yourself, force yourself to do that 10 minutes of whatever it is. Maybe it's 10 minutes of meditation. Maybe it's 10 minutes of like a YouTube yoga. Maybe it's just like a quick walk around the block if you can. Forcing yourself to do something is going to be life-changing.
Yeah. You know, something that you said was so interesting is like, you got a lot out of being with your friends, and it's very fulfilling. Some of the best mom friends that I have, we rarely even talk about our kids. We rarely even talk about our families or anything like that. And I think sometimes as a mom, you think, oh, I've got to be so focused on my family, my kids all the time. And that's me. That's who I am now. But that can add to your nervous system dysregulation if you're only focused on that one thing for a long period of time. Sometimes you just got to let it go. Sometimes you just have to talk about the silly things or, you know, the non-family related things and just get it all out so that you have 10 minutes to yourself, not thinking about your family.
Yeah. And I think especially for the moms who are stay-at-home moms, I can only speak from a place of like having always worked. I did have a brief time frame. It was like a 2 or 3 week time frame where I got laid off and was home with my son. And I was like, great, I'll be a stay-at-home mom. It's what I've always wanted. And then I was like, whoa, this isn't for me. Like I just couldn't. It was everything I wanted and it just wasn't for me. And I couldn't really figure out why. And so I think it's even more important for the moms who are home with their like, a stay-at-home mom is a full-time job and overtime, and you're not getting paid for it. You're not getting the quote-unquote breaks you deserve. So I think it's even more important for the moms who are working part-time or staying home or caregiving for other people, like taking that 10 minutes or taking that hour to really refocus on something outside of caregiving is huge.
Yes, absolutely. I've always said being a stay-at-home mom or a mom that's home all day with her kids, that is a full-time job. I did a mix of both. I stayed home with my kids for 2 years each and kind of did a little bit of work at home too, but it's so hard. And you don't ever really get to talk to adults during that time too. So your brain starts turning into a little bit of mush if you're not actively working on keeping it fresh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've talked to so many women who are creating, they're leading, they're building businesses while raising families. What do you think they all have in common?
I think, like I said before, they all have the desire to do what's best for their families. Like they just want to be the mom of a healthy, happy family child ecosystem. But I think they also like want to make the impact in their world or community or industry that they wish they had. And while they were going through the thick of it. And I think that's what's really crazy and cool about moms and women, that we are doing businesses, we're birthing, we're producing babies, we're raising them, we're doing community stuff. Like we're always wanting to help another person or another mom in a way that we wish we were helped. And I just find that so inspiring that like at the end of the day, we want healthy, happy families. And we also want to make a difference no matter how big or small it might be.
Oh, I love women. um, so since we're tiny travelers, let's talk about some traveling experiences in family life. What experiences do you think matter for families?
Yes, I love to talk about travel. One of my biggest things when I had my son was that prior to having kids, like we did not have money to travel. So like as much as I wanted to be a 20-something who was like jet setting off wherever, I worked in nonprofit. My husband had just started a business. Like we had no money to travel. So one of the things that I was so afraid of was that when we had a kid that like that would be out the window as well. And so I just set into my mind that like whatever bits of travel we could do, we were going to take advantage of and like make it reasonable to us. So in my son's first year, travel's free on a plane. So I was like, let's just do short little weekend trips. My husband at the time traveled a little bit for work. Like he would go to an event here and there every couple of months and we would just tag along with him. His flight was paid for. The hotel was paid for. My son was free. And so we were like, let's do this as much as we can because this is all we're able to do. And I really wanted to work our way up to like big trips. And I really wanted my son to be able to have the plane experience, be able to be well traveled, quote unquote, in a way that made sense for us. So I know with like I have a really good friend who likes to travel and be new places, but she will only do car trips. And like road trips are her thing. They're not my thing, but like their family gets to be together in a car, listening to music, playing games, and going places that are relatively close to them. And that's what works for them financially, time-wise. That's like their best use. So I think my biggest thing for travel was like doing it the way you can do it right now. And like maybe that is just doing like a staycation in your big city or a state over to like get that experience. But I'm a huge believer that like yes, you're parenting just in a different place, but I think that can be so like changing for everybody to like be in a new location, doing a new thing, being a new place. So for us, traveling has been huge. We did a really big trip recently. Last year in October, my husband he travels for work now. So the trips get a little bigger, a little more expensive. We have a little bit more money now to be able to do that. So we're trying to take advantage of it when it's reasonable, when it makes sense. So last year we were able to go to Australia and Tokyo. And had I not done those like little weekend trips, maybe they were 2 days, I would never have had the confidence to bring my newly 3-year-old on like a 20-hour plane ride. So that worked as like those first 2 years or 3 years of traveling, those tiny little weekend trips really are what prepared us for like these bigger, crazier trips. And at the end of the day, it was making me it had nothing to do with my son. It was all just me being like confident in knowing that we could do it.
Yeah, because how are your kids going to learn things unless you are doing those things with them? I mean, even like just taking them to restaurants or using public restrooms or shopping or anything. I'm always amazed by the things that you have to teach your kids, but it's like they don't learn any of those just regular things until you do it with them. And it's, I think something that you said is so important for a lot of families to hear is that, you know, just because you don't have a ton of money doesn't mean that you can't still travel, go places, see things with your children, there's a lot of affordable options and a lot of options at all different stages in life, which I think is so important. So what do you feel like travel teaches kids?
Yes, I think for one, it's adaptability. I think it's us learning how to be adaptable and how to like accommodate our kids in the ways that they need in new spaces. But I think for kids, it teaches them like they be safe and comfortable in a place that they don't recognize, and that there's so much more out there than just our little square that we're in. But the biggest thing and why it was so important for me for travel was like the first trip that we went on with my son. He had just turned 3 months old. We were going to like Texas or something for an event, and it was his first trip, our first trip all together as a family. When we came back home, I didn't realize like how much my son had changed over that time. Like the new things that he was doing, the new like things he was aware of, like new foods he had tried on the trip that he like wanted to have at home that he never had before. So I think it's just providing the opportunity for new experiences that makes me so drawn to travel. And you can do that anywhere. You can do that a town over. You could do that in your big city. But I think kids learn that there's more out there than just what's in their world, which I think can go above and beyond in their life for them.
Yeah. And like you said, it also builds your confidence as a parent too, your confidence in your children, your confidence in yourself, your confidence in your family, and like the world. Just being able to navigate different experiences with your kids is so important for the connection that you have with them, the connection that you have with the world, getting out of your little comfort zone for a little bit. Sometimes I have to remind myself, like, you just got to do it so the kids can do it, because sometimes I don't want to leave my comfort zone either.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, something that I think about a lot, and something that this conversation has reminded me of, is that kids are always watching us, right? And even when we don't realize it, they're learning and growing from the things that we are doing for ourselves and for our families. So what do you think children learn when they see their parents pursuing growth, pursuing connections, pursuing things that they love and themselves?
Yeah, I think it teaches kids that you can truly do anything. And I think when kids see us doing like the things that we love to do, or the job that we love to do, or activity, or whatever it might be, whatever you're pursuing at that time, I think it shows them that like whatever they're interested is possible, and that like you're not pigeonholed into who you think you should be, or who other people might think you should be, or what you should do. I think that it really seeing your kids seeing you do the thing, whatever it is, or trying to figure out what your thing is, trying to figure out what's exciting for you, I think allows them the ability to see that everything is possible, and shows the hard work of like getting out of your comfort zone and trying new things. I think all comes into this one idea that like, oh, I can do whatever it is that I want. And like, there's work that goes into it. There's uncomfortability, but like I saw my mom do it, or I saw my dad do XYZ. I think it can be life-changing for any kid to see that like things are possible no matter where you are in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say to a mom or a parent, caregiver who's struggling to see their own value right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I think we all go through this, whether you're, I think as humans, we all go through this. Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right lane? Am I making the right decisions? And I think my biggest thing right now is going on vibes, which sounds very silly, but it like for me, vibes means, does it align with like what feels good to me? Like, is it in alignment with the things I'm interested in right now, or the idea of what I would like to do next? Is it authentic to me? Do I feel like yes, I feel comfortable to do this. I might feel a little uncomfortable because it's out of the realm of what I've always done, but like, is it authentic to who I am? Does it feel right within me? And then just like going with your gut and intuition has been huge for me since becoming a mom. Like in the first year, so much of being a mom is just intuition. Like you just know the baby needs a bottle, or you just know the baby needs a diaper change, or the baby's tired, whatever it might be. And so I have found in the last year for me, whether it's motherhood, whether it's partnership, friendship, social engagements, work, podcasting, whatever it is, it has to be the right vibe for me. It has to be like, my gut has to say like, yeah, this is a great decision, or it's not for me. And maybe that's not right now. Maybe it'll be for me at another time. But I think really trusting ourselves and trusting our gut, and like really believing that you are in the room because that's where you're supposed to be, or you're in the place or in the spot because that's what was meant for you situations. So I think tuning into yourself a little bit more to see where like things seem like they feel right for you.
Yeah. And it is okay to tune into yourself and, listen to your gut, listen to your heart, listen to what the vibe wants, because that's okay.
Yeah.
Jessica, I love this conversation because I think so many moms just need the reminder that they matter, and everything that they have done and do and want to do matters. So before we wrap up, where can listeners find you, the Mama Making podcast? And if they want to connect with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, so you can find the Mama Making podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. We are audio, we are on YouTube, and then you can find us on socials anywhere at the Mama Making podcast. And then our website is the Mama Making podcast as well. And then for me professionally, I have a digital marketing company for small business owners and creators. So you can find that at collabscreative.com, and then collabs.creative anywhere on socials.
It's amazing. And all of this will be in the show notes for everybody to find. So thank you so much for joining us today. And if this episode reminded you that motherhood doesn't mean putting your own dreams, goals, or growth on hold, share it with a friend who might need to hear that message too. Make sure to subscribe to Tiny Travelers for more conversations about family travel and navigating life with kids. Until next time, safe travels wherever life with kids takes you.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tiny Travelers. I hope today's episode gave you the inspiration and practical tips to make your next family adventure easier, stress-free, and more fun. If you loved today's episode, head over to the show notes for promo codes and exclusive resources to help you plan unforgettable trips with your little ones. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Happy travels, and I'll see you next time.